Hi guys! I don't know if you've noticed that your succulents turn different colors depending on the season or time of the year. Take a look at this jade plant. You'll notice the reddish tinge all over the leaves of the plant, especially the tips. You'd almost think this is a different variety of jade plant, but believe it or not too long ago, this plant was a different shade of green. So how did it turn from green to this shade? Or maybe your succulents do not change colors and you want them to do so. How do you turn your succulents into a more vibrant shade? Well, there are 5 things you can do. Succulents turn red or change colors in response to the extreme conditions in their environment. The plants are exposed to a stressful environment which brings out their beautiful shades. Pay attention to your plant and you will notice that it starts to turn red or change its color, or the color becomes more vibrant or intense when faced with one or more of these conditions. The first one is when plant is exposed to a lot of sun, especially full sun. Succulents that have been acclimated to the heat of the sun will start exhibiting color changes to a more intense one. It can turn to red, orange, deep purple, depending on the type of succulent you have. I'll show you different plants I have and how they've changed colors because of stress. Here's how this exact same jade plant looks when placed under a more shaded location and not in full sun. You notice the leaves are greener. So the second thing you can do to stress your plant is to expose them to extreme weather conditions outdoors. When the weather turns really hot or really cold, you'll notice your plant turning red or changing colors. During the hot summer months or cold winter months, you'll notice that your plant will turn more vibrant or a different shade. When plants are kept indoors, the environment is more controlled and the plant does not experience extreme weather changes or temperature changes, and therefore will not show dramatic color changes. The third way to stress your plant is to withhold watering to a minimum. When the plant is watered sparingly and is not receiving regular watering, it starts to appear less green, and you'll notice it turning a different shade. On the other hand, when the plant is pampered and watered regularly, it will be plumper and greener and won't exhibit as much color changes. Here's another jade plant I have with the leaves turning red because it's under stress. And here it is when it's more green. Here's another plant that's turned a beautiful shade of mauve pink. This is during the winter time when it was exposed to a lot of cold. Here's the very same plant during warmer months. It's almost like looking at a totally different plant because of the extreme color changes it went through. So the fourth way to stress your plant is to not fertilize regularly. When the plant is not well fed, or when you do not feed or fertilize your plant regularly, your plant will more likely have more intense color changes. I fertilize my succulents sparingly and only during their active growing season. And even then, I often forget to do so. So my succulents are definitely not well fed, and maybe that's why they go through so much color changes, which I really don't mind. This third plant I'm showing you turns coppery orange when stressed. This is during the winter months when it's exposed to a lot of cold. See how it has scars on the leaves from the frost. I'll show you how this plant looks when not stressed. Here's a side-by-side comparison. The leaves are pale green compared to the stressed plant. So the fifth way to stress your plant is to have them in poor soil. Along with not fertilizing regularly, when your plant is sitting in infertile soil or soil that is not rich in nutrients, you will see these color changes more. This can happen when your plant has been in the same potting mix for a while. I do not repot my succulents a lot, so the soil they're in gets depleted of nutrients over time. And since I don't fertilize that often, the soil is probably not rich in nutrients at all. Here's my jelly bean plant that's turned a nice shade of red and green. No wonder it's called Christmas cheer. This plant turns red in the heat and in the cold, and with very little water. And here's how the plant looks when it's more green and placed in the shade, and also receiving regular watering. Here's an aeonium exposed to full sun during the summer months. And here's how this exact same plant looks when kept in the shade. Here's another aeonium in full sun. Here it is when it's more green and kept in the shade. Here's a gorgeous and vibrant plant when exposed to full sun. It's the exact same plant when placed under the shade. It's still beautiful. Here's an aeonium with very pretty reddish pink tips. And here's the exact same plant without the color variation and just green. Aeoniums that are dark purple from the sun. Here's the exact same plant when it's less purple and more green. String of buttons with beautiful maroon edges. Here's the exact same plant when it's just pale green without the maroon edges. When a succulent experiences one or more of those 5 conditions I mentioned, the plant is actually under stress. The plant is reacting to the extremes in the environment by exhibiting these color changes. But don't worry, succulents can take it and are designed to survive these harsh conditions. The plants are not being harmed by it, but are in fact designed to live under these conditions. They are highly equipped to survive and thrive in these environments. The good news is we don't have to pamper our succulents so much. They are not as fragile and can handle a lot. So thanks so much for watching. Please like this video if you found it helpful and subscribe to this channel if these are the types of content you'd like to see. I have a playlist of related topics that you can check out down below.